There's a cop on the streets. He's tough. You can tell by the way he walks, the way he talks. He's been through training, worked through countless situations. He's known for being disciplined, no nonsense. People respect him. But there's a side to him that's a little cocky. He knows he's strong. He knows he's skilled. But something about today feels different. Maybe it's the heat of the moment. Maybe it's just boredom. But he's about to meet someone who will challenge that cockiness in a way he never imagined. And then, there's the homeless man. He's a regular on these streets. Scruffy beard, ragged clothes, dirty shoes. He's been living out here for a while, just trying to survive. People walk past him every day, ignoring him, not even giving him a second glance. But there's something about him. A quiet strength in his eyes. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, it's always with purpose. The cop and the homeless man cross paths every so often. They don't really interact, but there's this unspoken recognition. They're both out here, in this rough world. The cop is on duty, trying to keep order. The homeless man is just surviving. Today, though, things are about to change. Today, the cop will make a decision that will lead them both down a path neither of them expected. It's another hot afternoon, and the cop is walking down the street. He's on patrol, his uniform neatly pressed, his boots hitting the pavement with each step. But today he's feeling different. He's tired of the same old routine. Maybe it's the heat. Maybe it's the long hours. But he's looking for something, anything, to break the monotony. That's when he sees the homeless man, sitting on the curb, as usual. He's slumped over, his head resting in his hands. His clothes are tattered, and his face shows the wear of countless days spent on the streets. The cop stops for a moment, staring at him. And then, without thinking, he speaks up. "Hey, you're still here? I thought you'd have given up by now." The homeless man lifts his head slowly, his eyes meeting the cop's. There's a hint of confusion in his gaze, but no fear. He doesn't respond right away. He's used to people talking down to him, but this feels different. The cop takes a step closer, his tone turning more mocking. "Yeah, I bet you've got a real tough life out here, just surviving. But you know, survival's not enough. You ever done anything real? Anything that actually matters?" The homeless man doesn't flinch. He's heard it all before. But today, something stirs inside him. Maybe it's the challenge in the cop's voice. Maybe it's the frustration that's been building up for years. He stands up slowly, not making a sound. The cop laughs, thinking it's all a joke. "Oh, what? You're gonna show me how tough you are? You think you can handle me?" There's a long pause. The homeless man just stares at him. And then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he speaks. "Why don't you find out?" The words hang in the air for a moment, almost daring the cop to take them seriously. The cop pauses, looking the man up and down. His first instinct is to laugh it off. But then, something shifts. A challenge is a challenge. "All right, you've got guts. Let's see what you've got." The cop steps back, a grin spreading across his face. He's ready. This will be easy, he thinks. He's done hundreds of arrests, dealt with criminals, faced dangerous situations. A homeless man won't be anything. The homeless man doesn't say anything more. He just squares up, standing tall despite his ragged clothes. And so the challenge is set. As soon as the challenge is thrown down, word spreads. People start to gather, curious about what's about to happen. The streets aren't the same when a crowd starts to form. It's like the air thickens with expectation. The cop, standing tall in his uniform, is ready. He's been trained for this. He's used to handling physical situations. But something about this feels different. He tells himself it's nothing, just a quick little challenge, no big deal. He stretches his arms out, rolling his shoulders. He's confident, maybe a bit too confident. He looks at the homeless man, sizing him up. He doesn't have much to go on. The man is tall, yes, but he looks worn down, ragged clothes, no real muscle tone, dirty and unkempt. The cop thinks this is going to be easy, a quick fight, a show for the crowd. But then, the homeless man does something unexpected. He steps back a few feet, seemingly lost in thought. He doesn't have a gym or any equipment. He's not wearing boxing gloves or any proper gear. Instead, he takes a deep breath, closing his eyes for a moment. The crowd watches, unsure of what's happening. The homeless man, in silence, lifts his hands slightly. It's not much, but there's something calm in his movements. Something measured. He's not flailing or jumping around like a fool. It's a quiet kind of preparation. He doesn't speak or make a show of it. The cop notices. He watches carefully. The man's movements, though slow, are deliberate, focused. The crowd begins to murmur. Some are unsure whether to cheer for the cop or the man. There's a growing sense of curiosity. The homeless man's hands move slowly, as though he's been practicing something like this for a long time, even if not with traditional training. He's used to the struggle, the fight for survival, and maybe, just maybe, he's been fighting in his own way all along. With a final glance toward the cop, the homeless man looks at the crowd, then takes his stance. He's ready. The cop smirks, ready to show everyone who's in charge here. It's time to start. The crowd falls silent as the fight begins. The cop moves first, stepping forward with confidence. He's fast, his muscles trained to react in an instant. His first punch comes quick, aiming for the homeless man's head. But the homeless man doesn't move like someone who's been hit before. He's calm, focused. He shifts to the side just in time, letting the cop's fist miss by inches. The cop's eyes narrow. That was a close one. He expected the homeless man to flinch, maybe even cower. But there's nothing in his stance to suggest weakness. He's just still. The crowd gasps, impressed by the man's ability to dodge. The cop takes another swing, this time a bit wider. His fist cuts through the air with force. But again, the homeless man steps back, effortlessly avoiding the blow. There's a moment of hesitation. The cop doesn't understand it. Why isn't this guy even trying to hit back? Why is he just dodging? The homeless man finally speaks, his voice barely audible. "You're quick, but I'm patient." The cop scoffs, his ego only growing. He's here to win, and he's not backing down. With a quick feint, he lunges forward, trying to catch the homeless man off guard. But instead of retreating again, the homeless man steps into the swing. He moves in close, just enough to avoid the punch, and uses his body to push the cop off balance. The cop stumbles back, caught off guard. He grits his teeth. This isn't what he expected. He thought it would be an easy win, a quick show of force. But now he's starting to realize. This isn't just some street dweller. This man knows how to move. The homeless man's calm, controlled movements become more noticeable as the fight continues. He's slow, sure, but he's steady. His focus never wavers. He's not trying to land a knockout punch, he's simply waiting for the right moment. The crowd begins to murmur. There's something in the air. The underdog isn't going down as expected. The cop, on the other hand, is starting to look frustrated. He's used to being in control, but now it feels like the tables are slowly starting to turn. The cop is starting to feel the pressure. His breaths come heavier now, his movements slower than they were at the start. He's been swinging, dodging, moving fast, but nothing's landing. Every punch he throws either misses or gets blocked. The homeless man is always one step ahead, always calm. With each missed strike, the cop grows more frustrated, his confidence is beginning to crumble. This isn't just a man he's fighting, it feels like he's battling something deeper, his own expectations. And that's not something he's used to. He tries again, throwing a powerful right hook, but instead of dodging, the homeless man seems to anticipate it. In a smooth motion, he steps back just enough for the punch to graze his shoulder. But what happens next catches the cop off guard. The homeless man moves in close, his body a mere inch away from the cop. Before the cop can react, the man shifts his weight and lands a quick jab to the cop's side. It's not the hardest punch, it's not a knockout blow, but it's enough to make the cop wince. The sting is sharp. Unexpected. The cop freezes for a split second, his hand clutching his side. His eyes widen in disbelief. He didn't see that coming. He wasn't prepared for the homeless man to land a punch, let alone one that hurt. The crowd murmurs, some cheering, others stunned. There's a sense of disbelief in the air. The homeless man, this guy who was supposed to be weak, who everyone thought was just a survivor, has managed to land a hit. And now, the cop is on the defensive. His heart is pounding, and he tries to shake off the pain in his side. He steps back, trying to get some space. But the homeless man doesn't give him the opportunity. He stays close, his eyes never leaving the cop's. He's calm. He's focused. And with every step the cop takes, the homeless man is right there, matching his pace. The cop swings again, this time with more force, trying to end it. But the homeless man is ready. He ducks, narrowly avoiding the punch. And in a split second, The homeless man grabs the cop's arm, twisting it just enough to throw him off balance. The cop stumbles back, almost falling to the ground. He's losing control of the fight. The crowd is growing louder now, their excitement building. The cop has never been in a position like this before. And with every step he takes, it becomes more obvious. The homeless man isn't just surviving. He's fighting with everything he has, and he's not going to give up. The cop is struggling now. His movements are slower, his breath ragged. He's used to being the one in control, the one calling the shots. But right now, he's on the back foot, his strength fading, his confidence slipping away. He can feel the weight of every breath, the burn in his muscles. The homeless man, on the other hand, hasn't slowed down. He's steady, calm, relentless. His eyes never leave the cop's. He doesn't need to rush. He knows that every moment is another chance to make the cop feel his presence, feel his endurance. The cop steps forward again, his fists swinging wildly in frustration. He's no longer thinking about the fight, he's thinking about winning, about proving something. He throws another punch, harder this time, aiming for the homeless man's chest. But in that split second, the homeless man steps sideways, dodging the blow with ease. Before the cop can recover, the homeless man takes advantage. With a smooth motion, he steps in and lands a punch straight to the cop's stomach. It's not a knockout blow, but it's enough to make the cop gasp for air, his eyes widening in pain. He stumbles back, losing his footing for a moment. His breath comes in short, sharp gasps. The crowd reacts, gasping, murmuring in disbelief. They've never seen anything like this. The cop, the trained officer, is stumbling. The homeless man, on the other hand, looks almost unaffected. There's no celebration in his eyes, just calm focus, like he's done this 1,000 times before. The cop's body is starting to fail him, his legs feel heavy, his arms are sore. The adrenaline that fueled him at the start is beginning to wear off, and the reality of the situation sinks in. He's tired, he's hurting. And the homeless man? He's still standing, unshaken, like he's been preparing for this moment his whole life. With a sudden movement, the homeless man closes the distance between them. The cop tries to throw a punch, but it's too slow, too weak. The homeless man ducks under it and steps forward, landing one final clean punch to the cop's jaw. The impact is sharp. The sound of it cuts through the silence of the crowd. The cop stumbles back, his legs giving out beneath him. He hits the ground hard, his face twisted in shock and pain. He lies there for a moment, unable to believe what just happened. The crowd is stunned. No one can believe it. This tough, trained cop has just been taken down by a homeless man. The homeless man stands over him for a moment, looking down at the cop. There's no anger in his eyes, no joy in the victory. He simply watches, calm and unbothered. He takes a step back, turning toward the crowd. He doesn't say a word, he doesn't need to. And with that, he walks away, disappearing into the crowd, leaving behind nothing but a stunned, silent audience. The cop stands up slowly, his body aching. He looks around, the crowd silent, still in shock. He's been beaten, not just physically, but mentally. He can't believe it. The homeless man, who everyone thought was weak, had taken him down. The cop feels a mix of humiliation and respect. He's always been the one in control, the one who people feared. But now, for the first time, he understands that strength isn't just about power or training, it's about resilience. The homeless man fought not to prove something, but to survive. The crowd disperses and the cop walks away, his head low. He's humbled. He never thought he'd learn this lesson from someone like the homeless man, but today, he did. Strength isn't about winning, it's about never giving up.